Greetings everyone. Today, we're going to unravel the story of New York City, a global powerhouse of culture, finance, and history. From its humble beginnings to its rise as the world's capital, we'll explore how this city became the bustling epicenter of dreams that it is today. Get ready to be amazed by the city, where the lights are as bright as its spirit and the streets echo with the footsteps of over 8.8 million souls. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. New York City, standing shoulder to shoulder with global giants like Tokyo and London, is the most populous city in the United States, and is uniquely composed of 5 distinct boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island. New York City covers an area of 790 square kilometers, but as of 2022, it will have a population of over 8.8 million, making it the most densely populated city in the United States. Famous spots include the Statue of Liberty, Central Park, the United Nations headquarters, Wall Street, the World Trade Center, Times Square, Broadway, the Empire State Building, and many other world economic and cultural centers in finance, services, real estate, fashion, and media. It also has a significant influence on the arts. In addition to being the largest commercial city in the U.S., it is also reputed to be the cultural capital of the world, attracting over 50 million visitors annually. New York, often dubbed a global epicenter, commands some of the world's highest housing prices, a testament to its unmatched market demand. Manhattan, in particular, ranks among the most expensive real estate markets globally, with the average monthly rent for a studio at $3,000, and larger apartments commanding significantly higher prices. So how did New York City evolve into the metropolis often celebrated as a global hub? At that time, about 5,000 Lenape people lived in the area. In 1609, the English explorer Henry Hudson, commissioned by the Dutch East India Company, ventured into New York Bay, leading to the naming of the Hudson River in his honor. 1614, the Dutch established a fur trading colony on the southern tip of present-day Manhattan. And from this time on, Europeans began to settle in earnest. In 1626, according to popular lore, the Dutch colonial governor purportedly purchased Manhattan Island from the Lenape people for trade goods, valued at around $24 by today's standards, a transaction that has become legendary in the city's commercial saga. Meanwhile, the Dutch West India Company profited from the slave trade by the late 17th century. A substantial portion of New Amsterdam's population consisted of African slaves, and records suggest that by 1703, a significant number of New York households included slaves. 1674, due to the Treaty of Westminster, New Amsterdam was handed over to the British and renamed New York after the King's brother, the Duke of York. Under British rule, New York became the most important trading port in the Americas. And more serious development began around 1700, when New York City Hall was built. 1734 saw the John Peter Zenger case, a pivotal event in establishing freedom of the press, speech, and expression in America. This was the Zenger trial, a landmark case for American press freedom. The American Revolutionary War followed, and New York was involved in numerous battles. 1776 saw the U.S. defeat at the Battle of Fort Washington, which briefly passed into British hands, but the war ended with an American victory. New York hosted the Confederation Congress, and temporarily became the capital of the United States. Then, in 1790, George Washington became the first president, and the capital moved from New York to Washington, D.C. However, it remained an important city, as the first Federalist Congress was held in New York, and it grew to become the largest city in the United States, surpassing Philadelphia. New York City developed as a place of glamour and opportunity, and as the United States was a nation of immigrants, many people came to the area with high hopes and settled here. In the 19th century, the number of immigrants exploded, and New York City changed dramatically. Many of Manhattan's streets were laid out in a grid pattern, and construction of Central Park began. Slavery was maintained in New York City until 1827, when it was phased out through the considerable efforts of the New York Emancipation Society. The open city was changing at a dizzying pace. By the 1840s, New York's African American population exceeded 16,000. The Great Irish Famine brought many Irish to New York. And by 1860, a quarter of the city's population was Irish. Eventually, many people from Germany, Italy, Jews, Hispanics, and Asia also immigrated to New York City, creating Germantown, Little Italy, and Chinatown. Today, with over 800 languages spoken within its confines, New York City is the most linguistically diverse city on the planet. Immigrants were an important resource for industries that were short of labor at the time. Immigrants with no money and nowhere else to go were obedient, low-wage workers. This accelerated the Industrial Revolution. But as the country became overrun with poor immigrants, begging, stealing, gangs, and prostitutes also began to proliferate. In July 1863, during the Civil War, the New York draft riots erupted, marking the largest civil insurrection in American history. Aside from the war itself, primarily instigated by impoverished immigrants. In 1863, facing the Civil War's demands and a critical shortage of soldiers, President Lincoln introduced the Draft Act. This act mandated military service for white Northern men between 20 and 45 years old, with enlistment periods extended from 2 to 3 years. Yet, the provision that allowed individuals to avoid service by paying a $300 fee or providing a substitute sparked widespread controversy. In response, white and immigrant laborers, incensed by the law's inequitable burden on the poor, instigated what became the most destructive riot in U.S. history in 1898, the consolidation of New York City United. The 5 boroughs, transforming Brooklyn and the Bronx, along with other areas, into the single metropolis known today. The 20th century saw New York City's transformation into an even more glamorous and vibrant metropolis, marked by the opening of the subway system in 1904 and rapid economic growth, which spurred the construction of iconic structures, like the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building. By the 1920s, New York City had become the headquarters for a quarter of the world's industrial leaders, asserting its dominance in communications, trade, finance, and popular culture, and marking its rise to global prominence. Additionally, it surpassed London as the most populous city in the 1920s, and became the first to exceed a population of 10 million in the early 1930s. After World War II, New York City established itself as the center of the world economy on Wall Street, and the center of world politics at the United Nations headquarters. In addition, abstract expressionism, which spread through New York City in the late 1940s and 1950s, catapulted the city to the center of the global art scene. New York's prosperity, both economically and culturally, can be attributed to its diverse population, rich in various skills and cultural backgrounds, as well as its advantageous geographical location, flanked by 2 rivers and the ocean. New York's history is a tale of continual rebirth, marked by cycles of destruction and construction. Despite its nickname, Gotham City, and past challenges with crime, it has consistently remained a global leader through the 19th, 20th, and into the 21st century. This has been a brief journey through New York's storied past and vibrant present, a city renowned for its ceaseless energy. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.